Hello, welcome to the webinar on how to manage customer feedback digitally with QDMS and Acumatica ERP system. My name is Kevin Devecioglu. I'm the Managing Director of Bimser International. As Bimser International, we are an enterprise software maker since 1998, and we are based in New York. Today, with my colleagues, we'll be talking about how one can manage customer feedback digitally with no need of paper with QDMS and Acumatica ERP system. Before we start our channel officially, I'd like to remind you that we have a YouTube channel called Bimser International YouTube channel. When you visit our channel, you can click playlist and you can see the list of recorded webinars from previous weeks, where you can access our archive of recorded executive webinars. You can watch, you can share with your colleagues, and we believe it's a very helpful resource for companies. So we welcome you to visit our YouTube channel. Also, I'd like to mention that we have an Eventbrite page, and on our Eventbrite page of Bimser International, you can see coming webinar sessions, our executive webinar sessions. We announce them on Eventbrite page of ours, and you can see the list and you can register for our coming webinars. Today, I'm with my colleagues, with Alex Kvartirov from Emrah Consulting, Sam Watt, our pre-sales software engineer, is with us, and we'll be also addressing your questions with Tukan Bas from our QDMS product management team. What I'd like to do is, before we jump into the details of customer feedback management and how one can manage it actually digitally with no need of paper, I'd like to introduce our company briefly. As Bimser International, we are an enterprise software maker since 1998. In a sense, we help companies digitize their business processes and help them adopt digital transformation. That's what we do. We are very active in various business communities. ASQ is one of them, American Society for Quality. Since we are an expert in digital quality management, we like to be close to quality management community, and we like to keep us updated. If there is any challenge, if there is an update, we like to be aware of it basically for our software products and so for our customers. Also, we have an internship program called University of Bimser International that's designed to help companies and especially university students to learn about software engineering. We have a lot of inquiries from various universities, especially in New York area, and we basically have our interns, and we basically take them step by step in our training program on pre-sales software engineering, so that companies can also hire our interns after graduation, and that's an important support and contribution that we provide to industry that we believe. As a group of companies, as you see on the map, we are a group of companies. As a group, we are about 200 people. We are a growing organization. European Bank for Reconstruction and Development is one of our investors. As Bimser, we are ISO 9001 certified and ISO 27001 certified, meaning we have policies and procedures in place and quality management system in place, and we have the systems to make sure we always deliver the top quality of projects and software development in place for our customers and for our partners. We are very active in various ERP ecosystems. We are an Acumatica independent software vendor. We'll talk more about our Acumatica relationships in a minute. We are a Microsoft Gold partner. We are a certified SAP vendor. We are a Mayobi ISV partner. Also, we are very active in Sage ERP, Sage Intacct ERP, as well as Oracle ERP ecosystems. So, as I mentioned, we are very close to Acumatica ecosystem with Acumatica VARs as well as ISVs, I will say, and Acumatica management. We work very close. We have been also sponsoring different Acumatica events until now, and we will, of course, be continuing as well. And we are very happy with these close relationships with Acumatica ecosystem. We have currently 3 products certified in Acumatica Marketplace. We have QDMS, our quality management system. We'll talk more about it today in detail. We have BIM as asset maintenance, fleet, facility, and energy management software solution. Helps companies manage their assets, machinery, equipment for preventive, predictive maintenance and energy management purposes. And finally, we have EBA contract management solution designed for Acumatica, which helps companies manage their contracts digitally with no need of paper. And system is also integrated with Acumatica. Recently, also we managed to position QDMS and all of our products within Acumatica screens. As you see on the screen, they look complete. They work together. They are already integrated. QDMS is a certified Acumatica solution. So that is how we are basically offering our products to Acumatica ecosystem. So since 1998, we developed EBA, BIM, QDMS, and Ensemble. EBA is our workflow engine supported by document management, records management, capture, as well as dashboard modules. BIM is our asset maintenance, fleet, and facility management system. QDMS is our quality, risk, audit, and compliance management system. And finally, Ensemble is our business process modeling and business performance management software. So that is our specialty since 1998, and we are very focused in terms of our products and development of our products, basically. We have many customers, thousands of customers. As you see on the screen, just even when we look at QDMS, we have more than 1,000 corporate customers and more than 1 million professional users. So that's why we call ourselves experts in digital quality management, because since 1998, we deployed more than 1,000 projects. We have more than 1,000 customers and more than 1 million professional users already. Also, I need to mention that our products, including QDMS, BIM, EBA, as well as Ensemble, they are designed to run standalone. They work on-premise servers, they work on cloud, and we have mobile apps available. So yes, we are close to many different ERP ecosystems, including Acumatica. However, our systems do not need another solution to run. Basically, they are designed to run independently, which is a great advantage for companies. In addition, we have the ERP integrations and certifications, just like the one that we have with Acumatica. When we look at our customers, actually, we have a lot of reputable customers in our portfolio. We work with 3M, we work with United Nations. Unilever is one of our customers, for example. We are also working with Starbucks, Bridgestone, Renault-Nissan Alliance, one of our customers. International Paper is also one of our customers. So as you see, we have a lot of reputable customers in our portfolio, and we are having more and more great companies in our references regularly. So we are really proud of it. Also, we believe that that's a great value that we are offering to Acumatica ecosystem. It is because our products are scalable and they are multi-location, multi-language, multi-currency. So you may be a company in mid-market, but if you are growing and if you need scale and if you need flexibility, basically our products are ready for you to use, and you can use them independently as well as with Acumatica ERP system. Fundamentals of customer feedback management. We hear a lot about customer complaint management. Yes, that's actually a part of it. But we may also get positive feedback as well from our customers, right? Doesn't have to be always complaint. So we'll talk about the fundamentals first of all, and then we'll talk about how one can manage it digitally. Alex, you ready?
Yes. Hello, Kevin, and hello, everybody. And again, thank you for joining this webinar. And Kevin, thank you for inviting me for a quick summary of what does ISO require as far as customer interface. So I will not be addressing all of the ISO requirements today. I will just focus on what does ISO require as far as the interface and how do you really support the customer. So this is really the key of my presentation. So a few words about MRUS Consulting, my consulting company. I'm the sole proprietor, and MRUS was established in 2015 after I had a long career as a project manager in an aerospace company, which was certified to AS 9100. Now, what I do today is I provide consulting services to various businesses that either want to achieve or maintain ISO certification. And about a couple of years ago, I was introduced to Bimser International, and I was extremely impressed with the tools that they are offering, and in particular, QDMS was really the one that I'm interested in because it really does a tremendous job in addressing all of managing the ISO requirements. So obviously there will be a demo a little later on, but I just wanted to introduce Bimser here and the wonderful software tools that they are offering. So next slide, please. So again, ISO, and it really doesn't only apply to ISO 9001, but to all of the ISOs. There are 7 quality management principles. And if you look at the first one, top one is customer focus. So that's the most important one. And all of the other principles really are there to, again, to support your organization to meet the customer requirements and make the customer satisfied. So I'm not going to address all of the other principles, but again, I want to emphasize that customer focus is the most important one. So next slide, please. All right, this is the heart of ISO, is the Plan, Do, Act, Check, Act cycle, which was developed by Deming. And in effect, this is how a ISO supposed to be managed, which is really a continuous improvement process. All right, and so this is a diagram of the quality management system, and on the right side are the clauses for basically most of the ISO, the various ISOs that currently exist. So what I want to focus today is really, I've addressed that process earlier in my presentation. So I want to really focus on customer interface. And as you can see, both on the left side and the right side, there's a customer interface, which is circled in red. On the left side are the customer requirements. So this is basically where the customer defines what they want as far as either the product or a service. And then on the right side is the customer interface to address both during the development process and also after the delivery, or during the delivery and after delivery, of all the issues that arise for the product. So I want to focus on those particular interfaces in the rest of the presentation. So next slide, please. So the way I'm going to address this time is a little different. What I've done is I've looked at all of the ISO clauses that include customer, the word customer in there, okay? And I'm going to go through all of these. There's probably about eight of them or so, and just see how, again, important it is to, satisfy the customer. So let's start with the first one, which is clause 4.2, and the title of that clause is Understanding the Needs and Expectations of Interested Parties. So what are the interested parties? Well, obviously you have both internal to the organization and external. And some of the external parties are obviously the customer, the most important one. Then you would have regulators, shareholders, the community, or you could have special interest groups, and there are others as well. So again, the focus here is that the word, again, customer, is an interested party, and that's very important to keep that under consideration. So the next clause, 5.1, titled Leadership and Commitment. So this is the leadership of the organization or the management, and it specifically requires that management has to demonstrate commitment about the importance of fulfilling customer requirements. So what are customer requirements? Well, obviously it's the product or service that they're looking for. It's the delivery of that on time, and obviously meet certain quality standards. You will have issues with quality. Nothing is 100%, but you have to achieve the highest possible quality to obviously satisfy the customers. And we'll talk about, well, obviously there will be non-conformances, but we'll deal with that a little later. So the next clause is 5.2, policy, and every organization that is certified to ISO must have a policy, and the policy must include a commitment to quality and customer satisfaction. Okay, that is a must. Next clause, 8.2, again, the requirements for products and services. So here is, you're looking at the communication, the interface with the customer to define what they're looking for as far as either product or service. And there, obviously, the customer can provide that in writing. But typically, from my own experience, is that those requirements or the definition of the product or service may not be in great detail or enough detail for you to proceed with the development. So then the next clause, which is 8.3, it's the actual the design or the development of the product and service. And here there must be a full understanding of the customer requirements. Sometimes even the customer doesn't know exactly what they're looking for. It's, yeah, well, we want a widget to do this and that, but when you look into the details, they may be missing. So there must be a continuous dialogue with the customer to make sure that what you are developing will meet their requirements. Next one, clause 8.5 is, well, after now the development, now the delivery of the product or the service has occurred, what are your obligations? Do you provide training, support? And so all of that has to be a clear understanding of your obligations. So next slide, please. That clause 8.7 addresses non-conforming products, basically products that don't meet the requirements or the quality. And ISO has addresses specific issues that must be dealt with in regards to that. And now, obviously, in your process, you will establish that you want to minimize or reduce the number of non-conforming products. But it's almost impossible to bring it down to zero. So there's always will be a certain percentage of non-conforming products. But again, ISO requires you to deal with that in an orderly fashion. And what are some of those requirements? Well, you have to identify non-conforming products, both internally, so during internal testing, before it's delivered to the customer, any non-conformities have to be identified, as well as any returns from the customer. So obviously, you will have failures, issues after delivery to the customer. So all of those have to be dealt with. Now, once you have a non-conformance, now you have to establish a corrective action plan and an implementation approach. And I guess Sam will address that in his memo of the QDMS tool, how all of that works. But that is a very key element of this process. All of the non-conforming products have to be segregated. So make sure that they don't, by mistake, wind up with the good batch of products. Customer has to be informed if there are any issues, any non-conformances that have been detected. And sometimes, especially in the early stages of the product development, the customer may want to see an early version of a product which may not meet all of the requirements. Okay, and that is permissible. However, an authorization has to be obtained with acceptance from the customer under concession. Again, all of that has to be well controlled and managed. The next clause, 9.1, is monitoring, measuring, doing analysis, and evaluation. Okay, and that is a very important part of ISO, is to monitor the customer trends, customer satisfaction, or dissatisfaction, hopefully not as severe as the satisfaction. But you have to know what the trends are, and that really drives the continuous improvement cycle. So you have to know, in order to improve, you have to know what are the problems and what areas to look for where improvement can be done. And next clause, 9.3, is management review. Okay, management has to continuously analyze the customer, well, both satisfaction and complaints. And satisfaction is hopefully you'll have more of satisfaction than complaints, but you'll have both, and there'll be surveys, and all of that data has to be maintained and evaluated. Sometimes it's called lessons learned, because that will help you deal with future products. How is the best way to develop a better and more reliable product? So I think after that, I'll return to Kevin, who will then continue with the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Much appreciated for your insight. Okay, let's talk about digital transformation of quality management a little bit. So as we all know, there are many different quality management systems in the marketplace. You may be in different industries, so you may be exposed to different quality management systems based on your industry. So you are basically required to comply with these standards. You may be in the aviation industry, you may be in healthcare, you may be in medical device, automotive, and so on. So as you see on the screen, we summarize some of them along with various quality management systems that we have been seeing based on different industries. So it is important to comply these standards to be able to have a continuous improvement culture in the company, also to secure increasing customer satisfaction month by month or year by year, if possible. And it's not easy, of course, to comply these standards. There are expectations. You need to prepare the documentations, policies, procedures. You need to keep them updated. You need to also share them with your team members, for example, to make sure your quality management system in place and it's updated and it's working. Also, as per the feedback that we get from many different companies, it is also difficult for companies to manage customer complaints because you need to make decisions based on evidence, and the evidence, which is the data that you need, are in different locations. Sometimes they're on paper, sometimes they're on spreadsheets, sometimes they are in your ERP system, perhaps, or literally on paper. So gathering all these evidence, all the data, and making decisions for continuous improvement based on a customer feedback or a customer complaint is also challenging. That's what we have been learning from many different companies, also from our customers. And so there is a need for a central repository as to record is to capture the development in your quality management system, also in your activities, and how you manage your quality management system and how you can improve it. Basically, that's all based on the data that you manage. And there is a need for the central repository for a successful quality management system to have it in place. These are the findings that we have been getting from our customers as well as companies in the marketplace. That's why we put together this framework called Proactive Management Framework. That's where you can actually see how the actual quality management system can run in a digital environment. And we break it down to three parts, three pieces. The first piece, first pillar is assurance, quality assurance. That's basically your quality management system, either based on ISO 9001, maybe you're in the aerospace industry with the AS9100. You may be in food and beverage industry, maybe you're compliant with SPF or DRC, for example. So that is basically your system that dictates how your company is supposed to operate based on your quality management principles and policies in place. And typically, as we know it, quality assurance dictates quality control, where you're going to have quality control points. Is it in your administrative operations? Is it in your manufacturing, before manufacturing, after manufacturing, or maybe all of them, perhaps? You may want to have control points to make sure, just like Alex mentioned in the schematic, basically you need to check, you plan it, you do it, and then you need to check how you are doing. So that checking part is actually can be performed with the control points that you have in place. So that's very helpful in that sense as well. And finally, the third part is the prediction. So before anything happens, we can actually understand it's coming up. So you can be really proactive instead of reactive. This is where we are referring to smart sensors and IoT devices in this digital age. So if you're in, let's say, healthcare industry or food and beverage industry, for example, you need to monitor the temperature and humidity of your location of your work environment. And if you have smart sensors, if you have IoT devices, before you being there physically, you can remotely monitor your temperature of your workplace, for instance. So if there is anything unusual, anything irregular going on, then you can get notifications, for example, and you can take action. And all these tasks actually can be digitized. And you can manage all these three pillars digitally with no need of paper. That is why actually we put together QDMS, our quality, risk, audit, and compliance management system. And QDMS has been around since 1998. It's very mature. It's a solid system, very reliable, it's scalable. We have more than 1,000 corporate customers and more than 1 million professional users of QDMS. And when we look at QDMS, that is it runs standalone, independently. Also, that's certified by Acumatica ERP system, for example, and that is already integrated with Acumatica. It works with the system as well. So we have two options basically. You can either run QDMS as a standalone quality management system, or you can activate the integrations that we already have for Acumatica. If you have Acumatica ERP system, and you can use the systems together to pull and push data. The idea is basically to have an integrated, linked management system in a digital environment, so that when you enter a data in an ERP system of yours or in QDMS, then other software solutions that you have can get the same data. So there will be no need for double entry, which will it'll make your job easier. It'll make your team members' job easier, and it'll reduce to the risk of making any errors, basically. So QDMS is a very modern architecture underneath, and fundamentally, when we look at QDMS, that's ready to integrate with many different systems, IoT devices, manufacturing execution systems. QDMS can talk to CRM systems that you may have in place. QDMS can also link, and you may have different ERP systems. Today we focus on Acumatica ERP systems, so we already have ready-made integrations via web service APIs, which is a very modern way of integrating software products to each other, and we can pull and push data easily between Acumatica and QDMS between these two systems, which is a great advantage for companies using both systems. So once you enter data in QDMS, Acumatica knows. If you enter data in Acumatica, QDMS knows. It's a perfect combination in this digital age. QDMS is designed to help you comply with many different quality management systems. That may be ISO 9001, that may be ISO 14000, HQF, DRC, AS9100 in aerospace and defense industry, and so on. You can manage one quality management system or more than one quality management system at the same time at one location in your organization. QDMS is ready to run on cloud as well as on-premise servers. That's your choice. Whenever you feel comfortable, you can use the QDMS and make it ready for you there. The system is web-based, meaning once we install QDMS on your server or on your cloud account, you can access QDMS from anywhere in the world via web browsers, just like connecting in other QDMS's website simply via a web browser simply, and all you need is an internet connection. It is very user friendly. Once we train quality management team properly, quality management teams can easily manage QDMS based on their quality management system. It's a permission-based system, so it means regular users, everyone is subject to permissions, meaning not everyone can see any data, any document in the system. You can only see what you're allowed to see. If you're in sales department, you can see sales policies, procedures, forms, and so on. But you are not necessarily need to see. You're not necessarily supposed to see the documents about production, for example, engineering, perhaps. Conversely, if you're in production department, you don't have to see documentation, policies, procedures about sales department, perhaps. So all these divisions of responsibility actually can be reflected on the QDMS system, just like in your office environment, just like in your company. However, is the hierarchy and permissions in place. We basically make it ready for you in QDMS in a digital environment. So QDMS works for you to help you comply with many different quality management systems in a digital environment. One of the advantages of QDMS is it has a modular structure, meaning you don't have to get an entire system to comply a quality management system. You can pick and choose what you like to manage digitally as to your quality management system. That is why we broke it down to different pieces. We have more than 30 modules available on QDMS. Those I have on the screens are the major ones that we have been seeing a lot of demand and requests in the marketplace. So I just summarize it for you. If you just like to manage your policies, procedures, documentations, you can just get console document management. If you like to have more modules, we welcome it. You can have more than one. You can start with a couple of them. You can add in the feature later on. That is also perfectly fine. So that is definitely up to you. Our job is to make sure, as experts in digital quality management, to make sure that we are helping you in your journey to digital transformation, in your journey to comply your quality management system in a digital environment, in a paperless work environment. That's our goal. That's our objective. So in any way that we can make this happen at your organization, we will definitely welcome it, and we are really happy every single step. Also, today we focus on the customer feedback part, and that is related to the customer complaint module that we have. Also, we call it customer feedback module. That has two pieces: the part internal and external customer feedback management that is also available in QDMS. And based on the customer complaints or feedback that you are getting, you may want to have corrective actions in place for continuous improvement. It used to be called a corrective and preventive action on the ISO side, so it was changed recently. So we also updated it. Now it's called corrective action. So all your corrective action activities, all your root cause analysis can be recorded in QDMS, and you can put together reports. And as long as you use QDMS on daily basis, you are ready for audit every day. If you are compliant with ISO, if you use QDMS on daily basis, you can welcome any ISO auditor on any day, basically, because there is no special preparation needed, because all your quality management activities are recorded in QDMS on daily basis. So what do we prepare about, right? Everything is digital, so that's the advantage. Also, since you are able to update your policies, procedures, SOPs in a digital environment, you also automatically via QDMS, you can also notify your team members automatically if there is an update in any policy procedures. The way that you do your work, it can also be reported and notified to your team members, which makes things much easier. Also, if you see the third column on top, we also have a bunch of risk management modules available for different purposes, for process management, and health and safety risk management, for example. You can also manage your risks, record them, study them in these modules whenever you like. Okay, great. So what I like to do is I like to invite my colleague Sam, and Sam will be demoing QDMS for us, our quality, risk, and quality risk compliance and management software in this environment. So that you can see actually in action what you can see, how you can actually manage your quality management system in a digital environment. The idea is to basically show you in practice how you can do it. So we'll talk about QDMS, especially QDMS's customer feedback, customer complaint module, and we'll show you in action how you can do it. Sam, you're ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, please take over the screen when you're ready. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, and can you see my screen?
Yes.
Very nice. Okay. And thank you for joining today's webinar. This is Sam at Bimser International. So this is the home screen of QDMS, our quality, risk, audit, and compliance management system. So right after you log in, you can find all the pending tasks and requests for approval on this home screen. And you can get a quick connection and start proceeding those requests that are shown on your home page. And also, QDMS is a permission-based system, which means not everyone can see everything in QDMS. That will, what you can see or your permission will be based on your role, your position, profession, department, or groups. And since now I'm logging in as the administrator, so I have a full control of the system. And these are all the available modules in my QDMS demo environment. As Kevin mentioned in his presentation, QDMS is a modular system, which means you can pick and choose the module you like or the module you need and deploy it on your server, like on your on-premise server or your cloud server. And today, I will show you the external customer complaint module and also the corrective action module, as known as CAPA module. Let's get started. And to this external customer complaint module, you can record the complaint from your customer, or also like a vendor, supplier, or subcontractor in this module. And beside the complaint that you can record in this module, you can also record the feedback. It doesn't have to be negative, but also to something like positive. For example, like the compliment from your customer, so that you can also record it in this module as well. So now we can see all the records here in different status, like review, final, open, and so on. It depends on the progress that you're handling this particular record. And now we can create a new complaint record in QDMS so that you can pick and choose the customer name. So you can have the customer list in QDMS and also integrate with Acumatica as well. And next, we can have our complaint description. For example, we can have our complaint description and also complaint detail. And enter all of those here and pick and choose the complaint category. And after that, we can pick and choose the solution team who has or which has the obligation or to be responsible to take care of this complaint record. I'm going to pick one of my demo account, which is Bimser International as its name. And then this user will be the responsible person for this complaint record in QDMS. So I'm going to pick and choose this one. And you will see the solution team is updated. And after that, if there is any document can be a reference for the solution team, then we can attach it from our local drive. So for example, this is, let's say, for a damaged product, so that we can pick and choose the product photo and then upload this to and connect it with this complaint record. Later on, we can save it, and this complaint will be sent to the solution team. And you will see on the screen like it has been sent to the users as listed below. And this workflow is configurable, which means we can always update or edit this workflow based on the hierarchy or the operation that you currently have in your company. And now, since I will receive a notification so that I want to switch my account to the responsible person. And now I log in and log in as the responsible person in for the corrective for the complaint record that we have just created. Okay. And as I mentioned, we can always find our requests or task right on our home screen, so that I can come to this widget, customer complaint waiting for review, and get a quick connection to it. And after that, since I'm one of the members in the solution team, then I can file this first progress report. And to this first progress report, you might saying you don't need this in your workflow. So what should we do is QDMS is capable to manage the workflow in this module, which means we can always skip any step that you can see on the top. And they are different tips and means different steps. And we can always get rid of those steps and make sure QDMS and this external complaint, customer complaint module is best fit to your company. And while we are filing our first progress report, and we can pick and choose if we need a corrective action here. So we can create a new corrective action or select an existing corrective action record in corrective action module, as known as Kappa module. The thing is, we integrate this external customer complaint module with corrective action module so that we can decide or determine if we need a new corrective action or an existing corrective action record to be connected with this external customer complaint record. So considering like we need a new corrective action, so we can pick and choose the radio button, and you will be led to this corrective action page so that you can pick and choose the corrective action source and also pick and choose the custom and pick and choose the location. And you will see the custom name and also the complaint code will be filled automatically by the system, since we're bringing this record from external customer complaint module to corrective action module. And after that, we can pick and choose the non-conformity category. So considering like this is a production and suitability, and we can have this non-conformity category here. And after that, we can schedule or assign this to a responsible team in order to take care of this non-conformity. And the attachment tab, you can always attach the document right here. For example, we want to attach the PO number as a reference for the solution team, and then we can upload it. And this document will be attached with this corrective action record. Once we have all those ready, then we can send this to the responsible team. As I have defined it or set myself, my account as the leader of the solution team, so that now I can find the first progress report request right on my home screen. So right here, corrective list, which will within the follow action. Right here, the first progress report to be written, and this is the one we just created, as the company customer name as Church of Apostle. And now we can have our first progress report, and we can enter our first progress report. And again, we can always manage the workflow and also the steps that you can see in this demo environment in order to make sure QDMS and corrective action module is the best fit to your company. And after that, we filed our first progress report, and also we can attach any document. For example, we want to attach the test result. And we can enter the record of the root cause analysis here. So considering like for the root cause analysis, we are having lack of training procedure, and also we want to add more, save it, and also we want to add more, like it's also lack of the training or the QC process, for example, and then we can add this here. And also after our root cause analysis, we found that it's also lack of the resource request procedure, so that we can record all the root causes in related to this particular corrective action record and save it. And after that, we can assign the corrective action in order to cope with the root cause that we record in the system. So right here, excuse me. So once we have filed our first progress report, and then we can have our root cause analysis, as I mentioned, correct. So that we can have our root cause analysis, and then we can carry out certain action in order to cope with this particular root cause. For example, if it is a corrective action or preventive action. And also you can pick and choose the action performer. For example, I'm going to pick myself again, as I'm the one who is responsible in, for example, manufacturing department, so that I have to put together the training material and also the policy and training, let's see. And then you can set up a deadline to this action performer. And in QDMS, we have features for escalation and also delegation. So let's say if the action performer didn't perform this action before the due date, then the system will call the escalation features in the system and escalate this request to his or her supervisor. In addition, if the action performer has any issue that he or she cannot perform this action within the before the due date, so that, for example, like having a vacation or business trip, so that this user can delegate his or her task to his or her colleague or co-worker. Anyway, coming back to this planned end date, so that we can set up the due date for the action performer and pick and choose the root cause that this action is coping with. And after that, we can save this, and this action, corrective action, will be sent to the action performer. And how can the action performer update the record in QDMS? Again, we can come to the home page, and the action performer will receive a notification on his or her homepage, or QDMS homepage, or his or her email inbox, so that the user can come to this page and find out what he or she is supposed to do. Like we are having the root cause here, and the action is put together the training material, policies, and training. So considering we put together all those documents and material, and then we can update the status of this action, and we can perform our action and enter the detail. So for example, new training is ready, and new policy is ready, and new for example, like procedure is ready. So we can put the additional information that to support that you have get this action done. And you are more than welcome to attach any document if needed. For example, we have this training plan, training policy, and also the procedure here, for example, so that we can add all those as an attachment to this corrective action record. And after that, we can save this, and this action will be updated as done and waiting the approval from the responsible team or the leader of the responsible team. So now, as I am the leader of the responsible team, so that I can find the approval request on my home screen, and which is waiting to be closed. So this is the one we just created as the customer name, as our church apostle. And at this point, we can open another corrective action, or we can open a follow-up action. For example, we want to make sure this non-conformity will not happen again in our company for next 3 months, so that we can assign this to a responsible person and set up the end date. As I mentioned, like 3 months. So I would like to set the due date as September 22nd. And then enter the follow-up description here. For example, make sure this non-conformity will not happen again within the 3 months. Okay, and after that, we can save it, and then the responsible person has to follow up this action assigned it to this user. As now, again, I'm the responsible person, so that I can find my task right on my home screen, which is waiting for the follow-up report. So considering 3 months has passed, so that I can update my follow-up report here. So saying everything is doing well and the non-conformity didn't happen again for the last 3 months. Okay, and then we can save it, and this follow-up report will be sent for an approval, and this approver can now review the follow-up action and close this corrective action accordingly. So we can come back to the corrective action list, which will be closed. Excuse me. So now we are getting back to this action and review the follow-up report by showing the report here. Again, so this is one important features I want to mention here is we can always show the whole report for handling our non-conformity and also customer complaint. So considering like the auditor from of the ISO standard, the inspector comes to your place and asks you to show the record, all your record, that's how to handle your complaints and also the non-conformity, so that you are ready to show to the inspector every day by just pulling up the report in QDMS and show it to the inspector right away. As you can see now, you can see all the records analyzed and also the results here, and also the action that you take and the follow-up action for this non-conformity, so that you can show this to the inspector, and it's helped you to save your time to find the particular record. For example, you manage it in on paper or on Excel sheet, so that you don't have to dive into your drawer, for example, to find this particular record. And now we have our follow-up report ready, and then we can close our corrective action and finish the whole process. And in corrective action module and also the customer complaint module, there is a reporting tool which allows you to create a ready-made report in QDMS. For example, customer complaint report, and to the corrective action module, you can find the CAPA report, the CAPA detail report, and so on. Also, you can use the graphical reporting tool here. For example, you want to see which customer you filed the most corrective action for. So let's say we can, and also like which department that take care the most corrective action in QDMS, so that you can draw your graph, and your data will be shown in a bar chart and also in a table. You can also export your report into Excel, PDF, or image for sharing with any responsible parties. It's come to the end of my demonstration. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sam, for the demonstration. As you see, after a customer feedback, it's important to take record of it, have lessons out of it, and if there is a need for corrective action, you need to also follow certain steps to make sure you're improving your processes. So it is actually very difficult to manage corrective action based on a customer feedback. However, if you are using QDMS, just like Sam demonstrated, it's much easier because there is back and forth in corrective action. You need to put together a team, you need to make an investigation, you need to put together a report initially, and then you need to also find root causes, you need to document it, you need to let your team members know, and then you need to follow up. So back and forth, back and forth, back and forth to make sure you're actually improving your processes based on a customer feedback, which is critical. As you may remember, a couple of weeks ago, we also had a separate webinar about how to manage corrective actions digitally with QDMS. And we also went into the details of corrective action management. And one of the ways to actually get feedback is customer feedback via surveys, via customer complaints. So that's actually an opportunity for companies to improve their processes. As much as it takes a lot of time for companies to process it, that's a great opportunity at the same time to make sure you can analyze it, you can study it, and you find a way to improve your processes, which is vital for any company's survival, continuous improvement. Okay, great. So we are in Q&A session right now, and we'll address your questions. We've been receiving your questions, many questions, so we address some of them. And we also keep our contact information on the screen if you'd like to contact us after the webinar, if you'd like to continue this conversation, if you have questions, if you'd like to schedule one-to-one meeting, please feel free to email us and let us know how we can help you. We are looking forward to working with that for sure. Let's see what type of questions that we have. Sam, so one of the questions is about mobile app. Do we have a mobile app for QDMS users to enjoy?
Yes, that's a very good question. So we have the latest technology, and mobile application is available for Android and iOS device. You can download QDMS Mobile from your App Store and also Google Play Store. And after connecting to the server, you can find the same data set that you can see on your web browser. So my answer is yes, we have a mobile application for QDMS. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Alex, we have a question. So as we know, getting customer complaints, capturing them, and processing them is not always an easy task. How can we encourage our team members to be open for customer complaints for continuous improvement?
Yes, Kevin, that's a good question. I think that part of the problem is having the follow-up process established in how to resolve non-conformances. Typically, again, this is from my own experience, is that we have identified a non-conformance, we have a meeting, we make assignments, and then nobody follows up because there are other priorities. Now, as you saw with Sam's demonstration, is that now if all that information is entered into QDMS, then the steps in resolving the nonconformance is all recorded, and the individuals that are responsible to resolve that nonconformance have deadlines, and management obviously anytime can look at all the nonconformances and see how they're being tracked. So I think that tool gives you tremendous capability in addressing really addressing how to resolve the nonconformances and make sure that all the actions are taken care of in a timely fashion.
Thank you, Alex. Yes, definitely. I think also the management is critical. They basically set the tone as leaders of the quality management system, as leaders of the company. So when they encourage team members, employees to capture customer complaints, process them, and as long as leadership encourages them to also analyze them, study them to find ways to improve processes, I think that's a great way to encourage, motivate team members, teams actually in a company to make the most of the customer complaints basically, because that's an opportunity for continuous improvement. That's for sure. Thank you, Alex. Another question is about quality control forms. We have all the quality control forms. Is it possible to manage it in QDMS? So if you have quality control forms that you fill up on daily basis, we can digitize them for you, and you can use them also in association with QDMS. So based on our experience, because we have more than 1,000 customers, more than 1 million professional users, we have seen a lot. So based on our observation, these quality control forms that we all fill up on daily basis before shipment, when we receive raw material, doing manufacturing, after manufacturing, and so on, these kind of activities basically generate the highest amount of papers actually in an organization. So that's actually where you accumulate papers really. So that is critical. So if you can actually fill up those quality control tasks digitally, A, that's easier. B, you can take corrective actions anytime you like. C, you can also notify team members anytime there is a need. And the bottom line is basically you can also get rid of papers. There is no need for fill up quality control forms. So yes, my answer is yes, we can digitize those quality control forms, and we can help you fill up your forms on your tablet or on your mobile device and link to your quality management system. That's something we can manage. And as I mentioned, we keep our contact information on the screen. If you'd like to have one-to-one meeting, we definitely welcome it, and we can help you, and we can talk more about it. Another question that I have is automating customer complaint. How to complain? You show some fields in your demonstration. How can we get those fields automatically in QDMS? That is also a pretty good question. Yes, that may be time consuming sometimes to gather data, evidence from a customer, for example, right? So you listen to customer, there is a complaint or there is a feedback, negative or positive. So assuming that's a negative feedback, that's a complaint, for example, you like to gather information. What type of product that they bought from us, what is the barcode number, any identification number, shipment number, and other supporting documents, for example. So once you capture these, then you can enter the data investigation for this customer complaint, the negative feedback in this case. There are different ways to actually automate it. One way or another, someone has to enter data, meaning someone has to define, explain what the complaint is about. So they may be starting with the customer, for example. We can ask a customer to fill up a form. So this form can come through an email, for example, an email box, for example, as a customer at abc.com, for example, let's say that's company name. So if you have a dedicated email address to capture customer complaints, for example, we can automate that process. Customers just fill up the form or fill up the field that's supposed to be filled in an email or in a website, for example, and we can capture that email automatically. And the process that's demonstrated to you earlier can be automated. So the initial part that is supposed to be filled by a QDMS user can be actually filled by the customer automatically. So we can link to your website, we can link to your email addresses to automate customer complaints. So that can help you. Save time. That's an important automation piece, by the way. That's when you first capture the customer's complaint in written format with additional documents, pictures, picking list, shipping documents, and so on, if there is any. And as soon as that is basically captured by QDMS, that also sends you notifications right away. So if I fill this up, a form via your website, or if I send you an email directly to your email box to express my feedback with you, and then that is basically sent via email, and then you get a notification right away. And as soon as that's notified, you'll know via QDMS that's actually in action right now. So you'll know what is going on your side, and you can take action accordingly. So these notifications are critical for automation piece. After capturing the customer's feedback in an automatic manner, just like the way that I described, the rest is actually kind of a type of study. Actually, you need to also do study and investigation, perhaps. If that's let's say a production of a product, for example, you need to dig into your production records. What if something was wrong? Did you follow the customer's specifications to fulfill their requirements, for example? You may want to study that. Also, another important is to, of course, the details of the production record. You study, make sure something went wrong. Maybe there was something in the pictures you only had a chance to customers. All we were expecting that. We were prepared to customers. So first that we can claim the whole piece is the investigation and studying and it needs to be studied by your team. Typically in the department, production department, if there is any something really a teamwork. That part is any investigation that needs to be performed by the team. But the time-consuming part, initially the customer complaint capturing part can be automated by QDMS. That we will be happy to help you do it. Also, as I mentioned earlier, there's another question as to what kind of quality systems. They make different types of we can manage code QDMS. We comply with 9001 as code management system. At the same time, they also have ISO 14000, for example, as ISO standard environment risk management. So they can go together with typical. We can manage these two systems too. And the requirements that we need to satisfy, you can also part of you QDMS software, so we can more than one component requirement QDMS, which makes sense. Okay, it looks like we addressed all the questions. Okay. The YouTube channel. We can numbers or hold our webinar sessions. YouTube channels. And our AcuQuality webinar series will be going on in coming weeks, and we have a strong, consistent webinar schedule in place. We have a lot of subjects to cover in terms of how to manage quality management system digitally on QDMS and Acumatica together. So we have to do this event to see our coming webinar series, and you can also register. Whatever you like, it will be helpful for you. We invite you to register on our event page. Okay, great. And thank you for your interest for this webinar series. We are looking forward to seeing you in the coming weeks. I'd like to also thank our panelists. Alex, thank you so much for your talk. Thank you for your insights. Thank you for the demonstrations. So we look forward to seeing you in our coming webinar series. Thank you so much, and have a nice day.